everyone, it's Steph. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about classical literature that has inspired some of our ideas of Halloween, how we celebrate Halloween, as well as things that just give up a spooky vibe in terms of classical literature. This is not going to cover every possible classical literature item ever, but these are just a few of the things that I think of when I think of books that have to go with Halloween. All these books that I am including in this video I have read. They're not all my favorite books ever, but they definitely give me Halloween vibes. They put me in such a Halloween, October-y fall mindset that I just had to share them with you in a video. So without further ado, here we go. So the first one is Dracula. This gives off a very dark, creepy, haunted, almost supernatural kind of vibe with this classic iconic story about the vampire Dracula. So this is the iconic foundation for everything vampires and Dracula related that has been infused into our culture, in our film, books, movies, TV. Definitely something that is super relevant, has inspired a lot of what we think of in terms of Halloween entertainment and Halloween decorations and costume styles. So had to include that one on the list. Next up on our list is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is a really interesting story. This was way better than I remembered it being when I read it in high school. So if you haven't read this in a while, you definitely want to check this out. This is a story of Dr. Frankenstein and his monster. Don't get that mixed up with thinking Frankenstein is a monster. Frankenstein is the doctor who created the monster, and Frankenstein is writing, I want to say, journal entries or recording in like a diary kind of thing about his studies on what he's creating and what he's doing in his laboratory. And the way it was told was very creatively done, as well as an interesting, kept my attention sort of story, more so than Dracula did, because Dracula kind of tells you the story and then tells you all this superfluous information that isn't really necessary and kind of makes you lose the plot for a while, and then we get back onto the plot. So Dracula is long-winded and takes a long time to get to its plot. Frankenstein is definitely shorter and it keeps you more focused and attentive to the story. I listened to both these in audio and highly recommend if you are interested. Mary Shelley did a great job with this story. Next up, we have two short stories that I was able to listen to within the span of a few hours. The first of which is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. This is a very short story, I want to say under 2 hours, that I could listen to. I really enjoy hearing the origin stories of things that have been infused into our culture and seeing where did that start off with and how has this changed over time. And this was one of those stories that I enjoyed just seeing what the foundation was. The person who created the story, what was their intention with the story? What did they envision of what happened within the story? Legend of Sleepy Hollow is about the Headless Horseman and what happens when he goes on his midnight rides. This has definitely become a part of our Halloween culture and entertainment, so I definitely was glad that I got to read this origin story. Next up, we have The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Part of the reason I want to read this is because I am very enamored with the musical production of this story. It was a short audiobook, which is great, but it caught me by surprise because I didn't expect it to start off with Jekyll already turning into Hyde. So we kind of find out that odd things are occurring in the beginning of the book, and then we see the dual personalities of Jekyll and Hyde in the story. In the musical, we see Dr. Jekyll and his fiancée. We get this whole setup of England and he's preparing for his wedding. Then we see him take his first vial and turn into Hyde for the first time, and things that are occurring in Act 1. And then in Act 2, it's what Mr. Hyde is doing to wreak havoc on everyone. So that was interesting to read this book after knowing the musical so well, to see the differences and just enjoy what Robert Louis Stevenson envisioned for this iconic story. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have two Gothic novels. While not necessarily infused into our Halloween persona, definitely could work if you're looking for that Gothic creepy mindset. First, we have Jane Eyre. She is a governess who goes to the home of Mr. Rochester to take care of his young ward and educate her. Mr. Rochester's home, his goofiness and his goofy friends, end up creating this very Gothic, mysterious, weird things are going on in the attic. I won't tell you why in case you haven't read it, but definitely if you're looking for that Gothic kind of mysterious vibe, this definitely fits in to that category very well. And then we have Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This is a spoof of a Gothic story where Catherine Morland just reads a lot of Gothic novels and then has this expectation that life is going to be like a Gothic novel. She suspects things and questionable, mysterious things are happening at Mr. Tilney's family home when she goes to visit Orthanger Abbey, and then things arise. So if you're looking for Gothic, those two work very well for that category. If you're looking for mystery, if we are looking at classic mystery literature, two come to mind. Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle, A Study in Scarlet. This is the first original Sherlock Holmes mystery published by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Definitely a fun one to enjoy if you haven't read it. And it's not a very long audiobook. Again, I want to say it's under 4 or 5 hours at most. I think something tells me it's less than that. So definitely something to enjoy if you are a Sherlock Holmes fan. Another classic mystery author, Agatha Christie. The first book I read by Agatha last fall was Murder on the Orient Express. So I think that's a great place to start. Definitely listen to the audiobook by Dan Stevens if you're interested in an audiobook recording, because he did a really, really great job. And then last but not least, just to wrap up this whole Halloween theme, and something else that has been a vast contributing factor to the spooky vibes and the eeriness of Halloween, is Edgar Allan Poe. So Edgar Allan Poe is known for his poetry and his short stories. There are many short stories that we know today, like The Telltale Heart. You can find books that have poetry, short stories, or a combination of the two. I ended up reading a book of his poetry first, and then reading short stories later on in the month of October last year. But I will give you a heads up. His poetry is dramatic and dark at times. His short stories are a little creepy. So if you're looking for creepy, go for it, have fun. If you are not looking for creepy, take that into consideration when you're looking for literature by Edgar Allan Poe. But definitely recommend, if you're looking for anything spooky, creepy, Halloween related, this is definitely something you want to check out. Overall, I hope you enjoyed this list. Let me know if there's any spooky Halloween related literature that I forgot to mention. I know there's more contemporary stuff that is either inspired by this list or original stories that have just contributed to our idea of Halloween, but I wanted to go with stories that have been around for a long time, have become part of the classic repertoire for literature that is spooky, Gothic, or creepy, eerie related. So I hope that you enjoyed this list. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this list and if I forgot anything. Thanks so much for watching, and I will chat with you guys soon.